Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Paskatya Desitarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, we have all gathered here to hear about the most amazing personality. Most amazing personality. Now, the first question is, who knows who Krishna is? Yes, this one first. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of the head, top, supreme. What does supreme mean? Ultimate. What else? Topmost. And Godhead, also same thing. Godhead, top. Head is on the top, right? Feet are on the bottom. So, if the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Lord Balaram? Yes? Shakti? He's himself. More. What's that? Also Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now isn't that confusing? If you say the president is the supreme person in the whole of the country, and also this man here, he's also the supreme, then you're going to ask a question, which one is supreme? Expansion. You know, this is an amazing thing, that you look around this room and you see so many people, right? We see people. Anyone looks anywhere they look, they see people. But they don't realize, we don't realize, that we are also all expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We all are. Now that's a little bit astonishing, because we see people we like, we see people we don't like, we see people who are our kind of people, and we see people who we don't particularly want to see. And we also see outside, sometimes in the street, you see people lying on the street, or we see people who are thieves and robbers. Are they all also expansions of the Supreme Personality? Yes. Yes. Now there's something interesting here, because does that mean that since we're all expansions of that Supreme Personality, we can do whatever we want? No. So what kind of expansion are we if we're expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who cannot do whatever they want? We're expansions with limitations. But Balaram, we're servant expansions of that Supreme. So that, you see, the amazing thing is that everything in existence is coming from that Supreme Person. In different elements, everything is coming from one. And the first expansion of that Supreme Person, before us, we're considered, I think it's a Svamsa expansion. There's a name for the type of expansion that we are, servant expansions. But the first expansion, because that Supreme One is going to expand into everything, the very first expansion is Lord Balaram. And then, after Lord Balaram, because you see there's expansions like us who are pretty lost. To be very honest with you, we're pretty lost. We're caught up in our own mind. We're caught up with problems of everyday life as we believe it to be. And we're going on here in the material world in a material way, trying our best to be happy, trying our best to get ahead of others, to push our way forward with success and fame and so on and so on. We're trying so hard. We're expansions, but we're expansions who've been put in a different place. It's a little bit like, I would have to be a little harsh here, it's a little bit like we've all been put into prison. And the reason that we're put over there, you stay over there, is because we don't recognize a supreme person. So it could be we're put into prison, like somebody who doesn't recognize the government, or it could be that we've been put into some kind of a rest home, like people who don't recognize anything. And so they lock them up quietly somewhere and they keep them there because for their own good, they keep them in an isolated place. A retreat center. But a retreat center, you can come and go. But we discovered that we are expansions that have been put somewhere. We can do that. But we don't have to do that. We can also cultivate our materialism if we want. We can cultivate our ambition and our pride and our envy and all the horrible things. We're free to cultivate them, and many people do. Or we can cultivate knowledge of what's going on here. Who are we really? And what's the whole purpose of everything that's happening around us? Is there a meaning to life? Or is life just meant for us to go out and enjoy ourselves as best we can and have the most fun that we want and break all the rules that we can get away with? This is a very common way that people who are nowadays, modern days, are thinking. Let's see what we can get away with. But this is because we've been placed in that dark space where we do not recognize person. That's not the most foremost thing in our minds. I think I'm not alone in this. I think if you look at yourselves, you'll see, yeah, that's not the foremost thing in my mind. The foremost thing in my mind is this or that or something else. So Krishna expands to form Balaram. Now we have Krishna and Balaram. And we'll hear in about 3 weeks how Krishna also expands on the other side. And who does he expand to on the other side? Radharani. So these three, Radharani, Krishna, Balaram, they're unique and absolute perfect personalities of Godhead. And we are meant to serve them. That's the purpose of our being in existence. Not only the purpose of our life, or this moment, but that's the purpose of our creation. Our being is to serve them. And just to help us to understand that, Balaram plays a very important role, because Balaram is also, he's the representative of, you could say, he is the element of consciousness. Sat, Chit, Ananda. These are the elements of spirituality. Sat, Chit, Ananda. In comparison to, in this world, the elements that make up everything we see are earth and water and fire and air and ether. They mix together in subtle forms and create the steel, the wood, the plastic, the cotton, the cloth. Our bodies are composed of these elements. But transcendence is composed of Sat, eternity, Chit, cognition, consciousness, awareness, aliveness, recognition, and Ananda, which is pure, deep, everlasting, real happiness. Eternity, knowledge, and blissfulness. This is what we're made of. And this is what we have all forgotten. And this is what Lord Balaram comes to awaken in us. And therefore he's considered to be Adi Guru, because the position of Guru is to teach. It's to awaken the student to understand the subject matter that he's come to teach him. So Lord Balaram appears in this world, and he plays a part. He plays the part of Krishna's older brother. He's 1 week older than Krishna. They play together in the mud. They crawl together. They chase together. They laugh together. They play together. And then, of course, he is also, for us, the teacher. So Balaram Purnima is a very special day. It's a day that we can welcome our connection with truth, with reality. So when Krishna appeared, Balaram appeared 1 week before as a tiny baby, because Rohini was the wife of Vasudeva. So Vasudeva was in difficulty because he lived in Mathura, and Kamsa was very, very, very alert and frightened about a child that had been prophesied that would kill him. And so because it was to be Vasudeva's child, he had put Vasudeva in prison and killed all of his other children up until this one. So Vasudeva, he found that his wife Rohini, one of his wives, was pregnant with the child, and so he sent her secretly at night by horse to Vrindavan. And she arrived in Vrindavan at the home of Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda Devi, with the request that please take care of her and protect her. She's pregnant and there's so much danger right now. And so she was taken in as part of Nanda Maharaj's family, open-heartedly and fully. And she was pregnant, and her baby came 1 week later. Yasoda's baby came. And it's said that when her baby, the first baby, which was who? Who was the first baby? Balaram. When Balaram was born, he was at first very morose. He didn't play, he didn't cry, he didn't laugh. He was very quiet, almost very sad. Until 1 week later, when Krishna appeared. And then Balaram became full of joy. And Krishna and Balaram were raised together. Now when Krishna and Balaram were already crawling, so this was after 3 months, Vasudeva, because in Vasudeva's mind, he knew that he had transferred Krishna to the house of Nanda, and so he was thinking, these two are my sons. And Nanda Maharaj was thinking, Balaram is Vasudeva's son, Krishna is my son. And so there was a conflict here that at some point was going to have to be adjusted. But at this particular point, Vasudeva decided for the name-giving ceremony that he would send Gagamuni to Vrindavan to give a name to, well, obviously he was thinking to my 2 sons. And Nanda Maharaj in his innocence was thinking, how amazing. Gagamuni has come here. What an auspicious coincidence. He can give a name to my son. And so he approached Gagamuni and requested him, please, you do the ceremony for my son. And Gagamuni, of course, he knew the secret, and he said, but you see, if I perform the name-giving ceremony, and if people hear that I have done this, and they know that I am the priest of the Yadu dynasty, Vasudev's priest, then Kamsa will hear, and he'll know where Krishna is, and there could be some terrible consequences, so I should not do this. Ananda Maharaj said, no, 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 please, you must do this. We'll keep it a total secret. I won't even tell any of my family members, because you know what happens when you tell a family member. It goes everywhere. So he said, I won't tell anyone, not even no one will be there. Only me, my wife, and the 2 boys. And Gagamuni thought about this. And then he agreed, because that's why he had been sent. So then, when he named the first boy, the older boy, Balaram, he said, this child, the son of Rohini, will give all happiness to his relatives and friends by his transcendental qualities. And therefore, he will be known as Rama. And because he will manifest extraordinary bodily strength, he will also be known as Bala. Bala. Rama was because he would do what? Give pleasure, give happiness to his family. And Bala because he's strong, yes. And not only that, because he is going to unite 2 families. He's going to unite Nanda Maharaj's family and Vasudev's family by coming and being transferred in this way. Because he will unite 2 families, then he should also be called Shankarshan. Now, what were the 3 names that Balaram was given? Bala, Rama, Shankarshan, yes. So there you have it. Those are the names of Balaram. And Krishna was given his names as well. And Gagamuni, he hesitated to say that possibly, I'm seeing from the astrology that in a previous life, perhaps this boy was the son of Vasudeva. He didn't want to, he had to keep this very secret. So one of his names should be Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva. And Nanda Maharaj never got it. He never thought anything of that. It was a good name. So then, Baladev and Krishna, they grew up together. They played together. They had so many fun activities together. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, many verses, many chapters in the 10th canto speak of the playful activities of Krishna and Balaram. But part of Balaram's play and part of Krishna's play, more Krishna in the beginning, was, who can guess? What was part of what they used to do? Now you're going to tell me some play games, but I mean something else. Stealing butter, yes, they were naughty. Somebody once asked me, should I have my children read the pastimes of Krishna because he did so many naughty things and my son's quite naughty already? Should I have him read? I said, yes, probably you should. But what did they also like to do, apart from stealing butter and playing games? Playing dramas? Play in the mud. Play in the mud. Yes. Yes, they love to play in the mud. Something else. Tending the cows. Yes. Yes, thank you. Killing the demons was the one I was waiting for. Because we can play in the mud and we can do all these things too, but we can't kill demons. But Balaram and Krishna could. And just imagine If you were to go out with them, right, and you come, yesterday we went to the museum, and we were just coming up the stairs and around the corner, and there was this huge demon. It was this big lizard. I think it was supposed to be a dinosaur, but it was huge, and it was coming up like this, and it looked like this, and I was thinking, imagine if you met one of them on the way home. You'd crawl out, Balaram, Balaram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Balaram. So, how exciting it would be to go with somebody who could kill demons. And big monsters would kind of pop out from here and there, and this person could... I mean, look at how many people sit in front of a screen and play stupid video games for hours and hours and hours, just pretending that they can kill demons. Pew, 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 pew. That's all they want to do. In their imagination, they're trying to do this. But Balaram would do it. He would kill them. He would fight with them and effortlessly throw them. So I thought today we should take a look at how Krishna and Balaram spent their time. Because, I don't know how to say this, but I think that a lot of children who have to go to school, they find it really boring. Yes? Yeah, I always get a good few nods when I say that. They find it boring. It's just like you have to sit there and drill all this information that you're never going to use into your head. Boom, 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 boom. And then you have to write it all down on the paper. And if you don't get it right, you don't get a good mark. And then they tell you, now you need to get a tutor, so that your extra time can be filled up too with putting all this meaningless information into your head. Why? So you can get a good job. So why do I need a good job? Oh, so you can make a lot of money. And then when I have a lot of money, what will I do? Well, when you have enough money, then you can relax. Then you can just kind of go around the world and play. You see? Krishna and Balaram went straight there. They just played. They didn't go to school. They didn't get a good job. Because in the spiritual world, there is no need of hard work. There's no need of hard work. So our business, all of us, is to canvass this and tell people, first learn it yourself, deeply, seriously, and you'll become happy. And then tell other people this, that there is a place where you don't have all the agonies that you have in this place, and where you get a pleasure that you can't even imagine in this place. It's so sublime. And you should put a little investment there, along with everything else you're investing in a most passionate way. And you should try and find the pathway there. So let's hear about Krishna and Balaram. Surrounded by his blissful companions, who all chanted his glories, Sri Krishna entered the village of Vraj, which was decorated with herds of cows. Now, anyone here, I don't know how many there may be, who's ever been around cows? Ah, look, the hands are raised. This is such a great fortune, because there's something so healing and calming, am I right? With cows. They calm you down. They calm down the parasympathetic nervous system. And they make you feel as if, wow, this is just so simple. You see, our modern society is gearing us up for complexity. There's always a new something that you shouldn't be up to date with. And it's more complex. And it does more, shows more, gives more, offers more. But actually, real happiness is incredibly simple. So simple. So Krishna and Balaram decorated those cows. And then they would also take the cows out during the day. But the summer season, who has been in India in the summer season? Yeah, and can you agree? Here we hear that the summer season is not very much welcome because of the extreme heat. But in Vrindavan, it wasn't like that. There was always a sprinkling of raindrops, not even raindrops, of drops of water from the kunds and the waterways and the rivers that made the summer season seem just like spring. So Krishna and Balaram would go out playing. Intending to engage in pastimes, Krishna, accompanied with Lord Balaram and surrounded by the cowherd boys and the cows, entered the forest of Vrindavan playing his flute. What a beautiful sound! With the waterfall in the background and the birds in the trees making their own songs and the boys laughing and joking and carrying their lunch bags from home and throwing things up in the air and catching them and chasing each other round and round. It was so happy, so light and so free. Wanting to encourage Krishna, some of the boys praised his dancing. They said so many nice things, and then they started to play. Krishna and Balaram played with their cowherd boyfriends. Now listen to the things they're doing, please. This is what struck me, to share this with you. Listen to the life that they lead. Because two things are very important here. One is to understand that whatever they're doing is what we like to do. We think that the spiritual world is very far away, it's not relevant, and it's probably boring because we're not enjoying in the way we would like to enjoy. But actually, when you get over that threshold, when you step beyond that way of thinking, you realize that everything you and I are trying to do here is done there in perfection. It's all coming from there. It's not coming from here. Here, it's a kind of a mix of stuff. But there's a freedom and a joy and a lightness that you can't get here in the darkness of the material world. Krishna and Balaram would whirl the boys around, swirl them around. They would leap. They would hurl things. They would slap each other. They were fighting. And sometimes Krishna and Balaram would pull the hair on the boys' heads. They weren't messing around. They were really boys playing. The Acharyas have explained this verse as follows. They say that the boys pretended they were machines. And sometimes they would whirl around and around and around and around and around and around and around until they became dizzy. And they would sometimes jump about like frogs. And they would also hurl objects like stones, or sometimes they would grab each other's arms and throw the other one down. Now, this is more fun for boys than girls, I have to admit. But this is what boys do, right? Yes? No, not you. You're studious. But this is what little boys do. They run, they play. And I've seen when children play together, like two boys over here, they're playing and fighting, and then they have a fight. And this one says to that one, I'm never going to play with you again. And they go over here, and then they play together, and then they go over here. And these two start a game, and then they come back over here, and again they're playing like friends. Because it's just the nature of play. Play just keeps going, going, going. And you know, we sit all here like oldies, kind of going, like it's like, how boring. We have to become young again. We have to understand that Krishna's pastimes are so full of joy and sweetness, and he's calling us, he's going like this to us, and we're so sleepy that it's like looking at somebody who's almost dead. So we have to wake up, wake up, wake up, and understand that this is where everything is coming from. So while the other boys were dancing, Krishna and Balaram would sometimes accompany them with a song. Would you like to accompany them with a song? Yes. Or some musical instrument? Yes. And sometimes the two lords would praise the other boys by saying, "Very good, very good." And sometimes the cowherd boys would play with bilva fruit. Has anyone seen a bilva fruit? What color is a bilva fruit? Reddish when it's ripe, yeah? And they're green when you pull them off the tree. And they're just suitable to be a ball to throw from one to the other, one to the other. So they would play with the bilva fruit or the kumbha fruits. And sometimes they would play with handfuls of amalaka fruits. Does anyone know what an amalaka fruit is like? Anyone? Amalaka? Anyway, at other times they would play games of trying to catch one another, touch one another, identify somebody while that person is blindfold. They'd blindfold a boy, and then they would ask him to tell who's in front of him. Where is he now? They'd turn him around and around and around and around and around and make him take a stick and try to touch something. And he's very dizzy. And sometimes they would imitate the animals and the birds. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, one of our teachers, he explains that the boys would play with fruits by throwing a few of them in the air and then throwing others to try and hit them. It's almost a little bit like juggling, but they became expert at all of these different games. And sometimes the boys would steal yogurt and other items and run away. And they would also sometimes cross the river in boats. The word netrabandha indicated a game in which one boy would approach a blindfolded boy from behind and place his palms over the blindfolded boy's eyes. And then simply by the feeling of his palms, the blindfolded boy would have to guess who it was who was behind him. In all such games, the boys put up stakes for the winner. And there's a start of gambling for you. Gambling. They put up little boys stakes or who was going to be the best, who'd be the winner, such as their flutes and their walking sticks. I bet my flute that you can't tell who that is behind that boy. And in this way they played and played and played. They would sometimes jump like frogs and sometimes tell jokes and sometimes ride in swings and sometimes they pretended to be kings. And in this way they played all the well-known games as they wandered amongst the hills, the rivers, the bushes, the trees and the lakes of Vrindavan. Now, while they were playing so nicely, having so much fun, entertaining themselves, as I told you, sometimes a demon would come or a very inimical person. Now, we all know that Kamsa was in Mathura, not so far away, and he was constantly thinking about who it was who was going to come and kill him. And so what he was doing was he was sending his powerful allies to Vrindavan to try and find this boy who would kill him. And every one that he sent, every single one, what happened to them? They died. But one of his friends was named Pralambra, and he was quite proud. And he said, I have the yogic power. I can transform myself into anyone. So I'll go there and I'll disguise myself as one of those boys playing out in the forest. And I will bring back this Krishna to you. And do you know what Kamsa did? Nobody knows. He laughed. He laughed. He said, "You're so proud. All these other powerful men have gone there to try and catch this boy. He's very mystical. He's very powerful. And you think that you're going to do it?" He said, "You are just inviting your own death." And Pralamba didn't listen. He said, "No, no, 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 I can do it. I know what to do. I can go and I will bring him back." So Pralambasura came and he studied the situation, unbeknown to Krishna, supposedly, and he decided the best thing to do would be to enter into the play. They're having so much fun playing together, all the boys up and down, this and that. I'll pretend to be one of the boys, and then I can wrestle with him. And so he noticed that one boy was absent because he had to stay at home that day, and he had the mystic power to assume the form of that child. And so he approached all the boys, and there he was, just one of the boys. And the other boys didn't recognize that it was not the original boy, but Krishna did. Krishna immediately could see. He could see from the eyes. If you want to understand somebody, look into their eyes, because they say the eyes are like the index of the mind. You can see everything if you look into the eyes. You can see if a person is bored, if they're tired, if they're not interested, if they're very interested, if they're very serious, if they're kind of like only half serious. You can see everything in the eyes. So Krishna looked into the eyes of this boy, who he knew very well, and he could see immediately, this is not that boy. This is a demon in disguise. And so he made a plan. And he said, all right, we're all going to fight together. We're going to wrestle in pairs. And whoever wins, the one who loses, has to carry that boy on his back. And Pralambasura was, yay! And he wanted to be on the same side as Krishna, because he was thinking how to get Krishna and take him away. And so the boys wrestled together. Krishna wrestled with Sridham. Balaram wrestled with Pralamba. And Balaram won. And when Balaram won, Pralamba had to carry him on his back. And Krishna, he was playing with Sridham, and he lost, and he had to carry Sridham on his back. And Pralamba thought, let me take this boy as far out of Vrindavan as I can, to be as far away from all the other boys. And so he started. But he's carrying Balaram. And Balaram is also who? Who is Balaram? Supreme Personality of Godhead also. So he's carrying Balaram on his back. How can you carry the Supreme on your back, an insignificant individual? You cannot. It's not possible. It's like trying to carry the whole earth on your head. You can't do it. It's not possible. So Pralamba, he's taking Balaram away, little bit by little bit, disguised as a cowherd boy. But Balaram is so heavy that he starts to assume his natural form. And as he assumes his natural form, he becomes huge. And he has this copper red hair. And his fire coming from his eyes. He's like violent. And Balaram, can you imagine if you're being carried by a friend, and all of a sudden he starts to expand into a huge form, and you look down, and he saw him, and who's this? What's happening here? And at first Balaram was confused. Not really confused, but like confused. And he was looking at Pralamba to see, what is this? And then instantly he understood what was happening. And he took his fist, and with his fist he just slammed it on Pralambasura's head, and the demon fell down. Now, some of us don't like demon stories, particularly the girls. We don't so much like to hear about blood and this and that and so on. But it's a fact of life. Violence is going on all over the planet. And human beings are violent to animals. And in the chain of nature, all the different species are food for another species. So nature is naturally violent. Continuously. This is going on. But where Krishna is, there is no cruelty. There is no horror. There's only this mood of excitement and drama, and then Krishna's success. And here we're speaking about Balaram. So the reason I wanted to tell you this particular story was because I really, really want to explain to you how much you're all and me, we're missing out. We're so badly missing out. We think that we're really successful if we see some sights of the world, or we make some money, or we play some games, or we have a house. In Kali age, if you can take care of your family, you're considered a really successful person. And this is what we're living within. If we forget who is Krishna, who is Balaram, and who am I, and what is my relationship with these Supreme Personalities. And therefore we come here, therefore we come together, therefore we hear about Krishna, and therefore we chant daily, every day, so that we can keep this in the foreground of our consciousness, that this is not the place for fun. This is the place for learning about the place where everything is actually fully successful. And there's no hard work. There's only happiness. So I will finish here with one quote from another story about Lord Balaram, where he was killing a different demon a long time later when he had grown up and he was traveling on pilgrimage. And that demon he killed, and we're told as a result of that particular Leela that all the activities of the unlimited Lord Balaram are amazing. And anyone, any of us and others who regularly remembers them at dawn in the morning and at dusk at night will become very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada tells us Lord Balaram is the original Vishnu. And anyone remembering these pastimes of Lord Balaram in the morning and the evening will certainly become a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus his life will become successful in all respects. So thank you. You're a wonderful group of listening persons. And I don't know if we have time for any questions, if there are any. Take a few. If there are any questions, yes, I've got two already. I'll take. Okay. Okay, first is closest.
Did Krishna also play soccer?
Did Krishna also play soccer? I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did, but it must have been more fun. Because sometimes in soccer you hurt yourself, right? You can even kind of like break a leg, or you can hit your head and get concussion. But Krishna, they played and played. They only played. That was his school, was to play. He didn't have to do anything else. And not only did he play, all day his mothers were sending food out to him, something to eat after he played. So I think he must have played soccer. You want to go and play soccer with him? I think you should. Do we have a question here?
Yes, Mataji. One very quickly.
Yes.
So, chapter 4, Bhagavad Gita, verse 9.
Yes.
How can we connect this to this? Janma karma chame divyam ehamyo vititata. So, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. How can we connect knowing?
Well, to know Krishna, it's like there's various levels of knowing somebody. Like there's various types of friends in the Vedic Sanskrit culture. There's different words for different kinds of friends. There's like a business friend, right? And you know them, Mr. Patel, and you go there and you do business, and when you do business you talk a little bit of the news, the weather and so on, and he gives you a good price and you buy from him only, and so on, and he's your friend. And then there are friends that you get that you sort of, they're relational friends. They come with your family, my auntie, my uncle, and then friends. And then there are friends that are kind of like more regularly friends. We see each other regularly and we do things together. And then there's one that's called a Priya Bandhu, a very dear friend. Yes? So the different kinds of friends, if you think yourself in your own life, you have very close friends and very distant friends. So which friend, the close one or the distant one, would you rather spend time with?
Close one.
The close one. The close one, you would love to see them any time of the day, and you would love them to come and visit you. So it's like that with Krishna, that as we understand our relationship with him is an eternal one of service, but with a deep friendship connected, then we don't want to go anywhere else. We want to go and be with him. And so you don't have to take another birth, because now you've culminated you've succeeded in your journey. Is that all right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes. Haribol.
So I had a question about Radharani and like Balaram, like as in Krishna expanded into Radharani and Balaram at the same time, and if he did, then they're considered like equal status, like as in Krishna Balaram is, I mean Radha Madhav is not like considered like a higher level than Krishna Balaram. It's like the same, right?
It's not. You see, the trouble for us is that everything we know, it has a cause. Like someone knocks on the door. Oh, I hear someone knocking on the door. I go and open the door. The reason I went to the door was because somebody knocked on it. There was a cause for me to do something. So it's not that when Krishna, Radha and Balaram expand, it's at a certain time, in a certain way, like we would think in this world, but they're eternally non-different and the same. It's mysterious. But there's no difference. It's not like one is higher and one is lower. But they also represent different flavors of loving exchange. So Balaram is in relationship to Krishna in Sakya Ras, or friendship. And a little bit he's also in Dasya Ras. He serves Krishna in so many ways in Vrindavan. And Radharani serves in a different way. But they all think of themselves as servants of Krishna. They don't think, nobody thinks higher and lower. There is no such thing as higher and lower in the spiritual world. But to explain something, I have to say, okay, you see the clock? It's up high on the wall. I have to give you a location so you can look there to see it. But in the spiritual realm, everyone is fully absorbed in serving and pleasing Krishna in their own mood. And he's reciprocating with everyone fully in the same mood. And everyone is satisfied with the exchange that they're receiving from him. Does that answer your question? If not, you can say more. It's okay? All right. Thank you. Good questions. Very nice. 1, 2, 3. Mother?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for that wonderful class. Can you please have a big round of applause for Mataji? So, did you all hear the class attentively? Yes? Can we have a short quiz? Mataji can be the judge.
All right, okay.
What is the meaning of Balaram's name, Balaram? Yes. Strength and pleasure. Is that correct, Mataji?
Yes. Yes. Strength and pleasure.
Okay, what benediction does one get if he remembers Krishna and Balaram? No raise? No, nobody's raising their hands? Yes, Prabhu. He goes and plays with them. I think Mataji mentioned something very specific.
If you remember in the morning and the evening, become very deep.
Yes.
If you remember in the morning and the evening, yes.
Okay, last question. I've got actually many questions, but we are running out of time. So, what was the name of the demon that Balaram killed? Yes, Chaitanya. Basura. All right. Thank you so much.
Very well
Amazing.
done. Very good. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.